Hey, hey, people. Sneed here.
Oh man, I mean, someone made this, but Sneed is one of those evergreen jokes that I don't think ever is not funny. You know. Okay, I see it live on my channel. No one's
Yes.
watching it yet, but we're live.
Yeah, you gotta publish it on Twitter too.
Yeah, I'll throw that
And now
link.
you done it. But
I'll
oh, okay. It's my headphones. Don't worry.
okay, gotcha.
Uh,
I'll throw that link on the Twitter and on the T-gram. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope there are no ladies watching this, but gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for coming again. Bobby and I today are, we had a talk last week and we figured that 3 hours is entirely too long for one of these streams, but we are going to go for about 2 hours. Um, or until a satisfactory stopping point, whichever one comes first. Um,
exactly.
so, um, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna I'm throwing the links up on the Twitter and the Tgram real quick. But Bobby and I are going to continue with our ultra Calvinist solemn Providence Nick Land, um, um, fucking John Milton, epic playthrough where we are of the devil's
Yeah, the
party.
Brady Bunch too. You
Yes.
forgot that one.
Yeah, the John Milton Brady Bunch playthrough.
Yeah, exactly.
Something that could only have existed in the United States in the year 2023. I shudder to think of the combination.
Brady Bunch is well, you know that Married with Children was like remade for German audiences. I mean, Russians had a an iconic Married Together, which is they translated it as mm, Happy with Children. No, no,
Happy
no, Happy Together. Phew, Happy with Children. Uh,
happy with children.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, no, it wasn't Happy with Children. Am I retarded?
Possibly.
It was Happy Together. Yes, Счастливы вместе. Right. Which starred people that were picked specifically to be identical to the actors of of Married with Children.
I never watched Married with Children. Um, but I'm guessing it's the same sort of concept as the Brady Bunch. Something like that.
Yeah, it's like the perpetually horny housewife, the lazy, like depressed man that works as a he sells shoes for women, and his bratty children, his like weird neighbor that's really, that gets along with. It's basically Flintstones, but like on TV. Well, with real people.
Bobby, real quick, I just found a
Yeah.
hidden piece of Masonic symbolism in this game.
Oh God, where?
I'm circling it right here on the screen.
Oh shit! It's the all-seeing Playboy eye.
Yes, it's so
Um,
true. The Masons made Sir Bronte, and then they control everything. Also,
uh,
ladies and gentlemen, the Rothschilds paid me very handsomely to be 15 minutes late this morning. And look, I'm the Rothschilds' top guy. All right, they wire money into my bank account, and I have to follow their orders. It's just
uh,
that simple. Um,
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. We're gonna go to Cambridge now.
yes, we're so. What's funny is Bobby. Before we keep going, um, I was doing some research for an article a couple of weeks back. I think I talked about it on the stream. My Nathaniel Bacon article, um, who he was a relative of Francis Bacon, the philosopher,
Mhm.
and he led this revolt in the Virginia colony in the 1680s that I wrote an article about. But you know, it's funny that I look into all of these like privateers, these sort of gentry, rabble rouser types, or the like ultra Calvinist, like religious reformers, like Milton, like both Francis and Nathaniel Bacon. Like I can't think of another example off the top of my head, but they're all from like freaking East Anglia. Every single one of them, they're all from like East Anglia. You know,
Mm. What does that
and
mean?
well, so this is getting into like Sandbach circleism, but East Anglia is where you know how you hear a lot about the Angles and the Saxons as kind of two different tribes. Well, East Anglia is where the Angles settled mostly. Its largest town, I believe, is the town of Ipswich. It's that little bump on eastern England, um, and and it's where Cambridge is. Cambridge has always traditionally been the school of East Anglia. Um, Oxford has been the school of like England proper, but it's weird because there's this theory going around that the Angles have this have this weird genetic imprint of this, and this is getting into like Hyperborea, Atlantis, Doggerland, spinny wheel theory, but like the Angles.
Doggerland. Oh shit.
Well,
Yeah.
the name Angles literally translates to people of the angels,
Uh,
as opposed to the Saxons who are named after like a long knife. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting. I looked into this, especially around the English Civil War period, and I realized how many of these motherfuckers went to Cambridge. And I wondered if perhaps it was like some Marxist indoctrination or like some 1700s or 1600s version of Marxist indoctrination at the school, as opposed to like genetic residue. But I digress. We're here. We're not there. We are here. John Milton is 13 years old. And we are finishing up a day of school, Bobby. We're taking a walk around, and oh look, it's the mansion of that splendid El Velasco. And Bobby, as good Anglo-Marxists, we hate all nobles of any kind. We hate every single
horrible.
one.
Horrible.
We hate all of them. In
The
one.
nobles are there for a reason.
Well,
They must rule over us peasants. Our lot is to suffer and to sneed.
to Sneed. But I look over and oh look, it's Stefan. Oh boy. To the
Let's go
mansion's
ahead.
garden. Oh, he's in a really really good getup. But oh no. He's
courting.
He's courting, but she's betrothed to another nobleman. Oh no.
She's gonna fall for that autist. Look out, girl.
Well, Steven, I don't know how to say his fucking
Oh
name.
yeah, it's Stefan. It's not Nathan. Phew. I was like,
No,
I was imagining
Stefan is not. He is not an autist. He's a fucking Chad. He's a jock.
Yeah, he's definitely a jock.
He's the kind of dude who would have succeeded very well in American society. But he's sitting here reciting bad poetry.
Thought that would help you come down to earth. Yeah. Like, how hard did it? Nah. How painful was the fall? No shit. What is it? Did you feel pain when you fell through the heavens or from the heavens?
Something like.
What was it?
Did it hurt? And
yeah,
that's how
exactly.
you walk at me like, did it hurt? And she says, well, what do you mean? She's like, did it hurt when you fell from? So as you can see, I was absolutely like Don Juan Casablanca in high school, just so you all know. With my stuttering, the girls couldn't get enough of it. But anyway, yeah, young love is about to cause a scandal. And it's funny, Bobby, I watched The Notebook last night. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie.
The Notebook.
The Notebook, yeah, bawled my eyes out. It was, I'm completely okay admitting that.
Did you watch it with your girlfriend? Oh, I mean, wife at this.
Yes, my wife. Yes, I watched it with my wife. She really wanted to watch it, and I watched it with her, and yeah, I mean, it was great. And I loved a lot of things about it. And the reason I'm bringing it up is it has this kind of like, Stefan's over here.
It has Ryan Gosling in it. Yeah, you were like, oh, that's literally me.
It does have Ryan Gosling, but I didn't know that till she started watching it. And to be honest, I liked him as a character, but it's not really like a Ryan Gosling movie. The whole movie is just great for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to talk too long about it, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit because it's the same general premise as, underclass dude is in love with a woman above his station, which is currently what Stefan is doing right now with Count El Velasco's daughter. It's set in South Carolina in 1940, around basically slightly before, during, and after World War II is when it's set. But it's a really unique location. They set it in rural South Carolina, which you kind of have to ascertain by watching it. They never really say we are in South Carolina. They never say that. They mention other places though. Although some people say it's in Georgia. And anyway, but this dude who's like a poor guy, he's a Scots-Irish backcountry, what is often referred to as white trash, falls in love with the daughter of like plantation money. But the thing is that you see in the movie what is talked about, how the plantation money kind of joins with New England money and becomes the WASPs. And so the parents who are super rich basically tell their daughter, look, he's white trash. You're not going to marry him. Just let it fizzle out. And they kind of meddle and all that other stuff. And, I mean, I'm not going to spoil the whole plot of the movie, but it's really...
Ryan Gosling gets her addicted to crack, like meth. Right? They
No.
and shine together.
No, I don't know about that.
They ride on an ATV through the deserts of Nevada.
No, I don't know about that, but I really like the movie just because of it. The movie has a ton of attention to detail. Like, they don't have any sort of like, they don't do stupid things that I think a lot of movies do, in that, like, for example, they're in a rainstorm and Ryan Gosling is rowing them up to the dock, and he gets the boat to the dock in the middle of the rainstorm, and like she gets, and like they don't just leave it there at the dock. There's a whole like couple of seconds dedicated to just the camera being on Ryan Gosling as he's pulling the boat out of the water and like putting it up, which I know is a minor autistic thing to like, but it's just the movie has a ton of attention to detail in places where, it really doesn't need any business having it. For example, badges on the World War II uniforms, they get them correctly. They actually match the right, military jobs during World War II with the socioeconomic classes of the people going into the army. So anyway, I have nothing but good things to say about it, and I'm not gonna interrupt John Milton with it, but it's a really good movie, and you really feel like you're a part of the world when you're watching it, and the romantic subplot is really well done, which is not...
Well, I guess when I'm with my girlfriend, when I don't take my meds and my girlfriend appears, we're gonna watch Notebook together too.
Yes, I'd really recommend it. But anyway, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going.
Stefan's putting the entire family at risk. See what happens to him.
Over the only thing that's worth doing it for.
Yeah, he's very happy. No, will Milton support him? Let's see. Remind him what a nobleman's honor means. I mean, honestly, if we're doing lawless, and if Milton has decided that the entire structure of society is like wrong, and he must be the one to, what would you call it, to repair it. I mean, yeah, he's gonna be like, you're not really a peasant, buddy. You're the noble. You gotta cuck that.
So true.
That king. No, it wasn't the king. Like, yeah, but it's not the noble. That lord. Yeah. Go ahead. Oh. Yeah. But Stefan's gonna love me. We should look at that. We've got all the makings of a professional spy. Inspector Milton.
Young love is worth this risk. So true. So true.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of love, I saw Evgeny Onegin at the Teatro Massimo, which is the third biggest opera house in in Europe. It's the biggest one in Italy, and
it's in Sicily?
Was well, yeah, but it's the biggest one in Italy, even though it's in Sicily. It's like an hour drive from where I am right now. but it was very, very. It's a crowd pleaser, man. Even if it's in Russian, it's a crowd pleaser. Paul. I thought it was going to have like some Russian identity in it besides the language, but not really. I mean, they
Hmm.
were all dressed in like not hipster clothes, but like um one second, the white boy summer clothes. Like polo shirts and like these well, no, not frilly dresses, but just dresses that are kind of neutral.
Yeah,
It's like trad, but without the flowers. And everyone
gotcha.
was wearing that. The lead singer, the female one, was wearing a dress that was, if you think about Nicole Kidman in
Mm-hmm.
Australia. Have you
Okay.
seen that movie?
I have not, no.
No. Okay. Well, she had this kind of short shirt that was tucked into her dress. And she looked like one of the like Indiana Jones, buddies, like female buddies,
Gotcha.
something like that. And my dad was he wasn't furious, but he was displeased because he has seen uh, Evgeny Onegin like 100 times, in
Gotcha.
Russia.
Oh,
And
were you there
each
with
time
your
they show,
were you there with your dad?
yeah, yeah, him and his wife.
Okay.
And yeah, it was I mean, the tickets were 100 euros a pop,
Mm-hmm.
in the front, so that wasn't too bad. And it was a school night, so the school children could come in. And hey, you know what? It is the whitest place in Europe. At that moment, that opera house was just like what do you call it? It's like the crossword section of New York Times. It's just whites, and there weren't even any like brown Sicilians. And
It's
hey, everyone behaved very well except like old, like 50-year-old women that would take their phones out and stuff like that. Like even kids would turn off their phones. Like I had, there were like kind of gopniks sitting behind me, but like school, not jocks, but like malavita, like they're not the best kids or something.
mm-hmm.
While the opera was starting, they were betting on football,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and they were kind of trashy. They weren't. Uh, they did not wear any clothing appropriate for the
Were they in
opera.
like Adidas
But the
tracksuits and stuff
moment, the
like that?
moment the lights dimmed, they turned off their fucking phone. Not just like put them to sleep. No, they actually turned it off and they shut up. It was crazy. Like that kind of stuff still exists, and everyone behaved themselves really well, and no one chatted, like and they loved it, and because it's a big crowd pleaser. There's no like difficult concepts there. It's just guy gets offered love, rejects it, kills his best friend, then regrets it later, and then despairs at the very end. It's
That's an
very
opera right
tragic.
there. That's an opera.
Very tragic. And yeah, my dad was displeased that everyone wore like, modern clothes. And when it is conducted in Russia, you have the aristocrat that would
Mm-hmm.
wear suits, that would wear cylinders on top of their heads, which
Yeah.
are called top hats in English. And they'd have these. When they were having a duel, uh, the the main hero and his best friend got like snub-nosed revolvers to shoot,
Mm-hmm.
like what do you call him? Like Rick Grimes in Walking Dead. It
Yeah.
was it was pretty stupid. But of course, in Russia, they would get these um, like dueling pistols. And there would be like artificial snow falling on top of them, and the peasants would wear classical Russian peasant clothes with the Valenkeys, with the mm, like these white woolen shirts and all that stuff. They would sing, and like here the choir
Mm-hmm.
that the choir was not part of the traveling troupe
Mm-hmm.
of those people who are now showing Vienna all over Italy. They were homegrown Teatro Massimo Italian people. They were very, very simple Sicilians. You could look at them, they're just your neighbors. And man, they weren't trained in Russian pronunciation. So it wasn't the best. It was good choir singing, very good choir singing. They were very harmonious, they moved in a very good way, like
But
clearly
the
artists.
but the
But
words could have used some more work.
yeah, they couldn't do the. For example, if I say, let's say, the word teleology in Russian would be teleologia. Well, they would say teleologia. The e doesn't have this pause, and they do because that's the way it works in Italian, and that's just the
Mm.
way. For example, there's a letter in the Russian alphabet which is ya.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say something like, for example, my name is Robert, меня зовут Роберт, you don't really say меня. It's like a weird high pitched a,
Mm-hmm.
and because and they say nya, and it doesn't work. It's like cringe, but everything else was great. And now I know that the moment a theater shows Evgeny Onegin, Magic Flute, and Carmen in the span of like 5 months, it means they need money now. They need money now. These are crowd
Pretty.
pleasers.
It's like operas going around putting on like Die Meistersinger von Nuremberg, or like an abridged The Ring of the Nibelungen or something like that. It's like, give us money, we need money. Um,
Uh,
but
it's,
anyway,
it's let's go ahead. The poets.
so John Milton is about to stumble upon some more solemn Providence Calvinist events. The poets.
Another event.
So us and Tomas, we're going in the castle district. Old siege walls. Oh no, we're not at war anymore. We don't need any more walls. There are no more enemies left for the empire to fight, since the twins descended and chose the Tempest dynasty to rule the empire. It has spread one sea to sea. That's awkward in English. It has spread one sea to sea, bringing its rule and peace for many generations. You can tell that. Look, the Russians who translated this, they did an outstanding job, but every so often you see like awkward
Yeah.
sentences like this.
Yeah. Especially in the very beginning where it's like,
Yeah.
my son, I am your mother.
The two of you gaze in awe at the old charcoal black marks on the former fortress walls. Oh, magic wielders! Gusts of fire.
Magic.
The rebellious Duke fought against the Emperor and literally God. Little does John Milton know that that he was actually on the Duke's side.
He was the first Whig. The Whigs versus the Calvinist kingdom.
Well, the Whigs are the Calvinists, actually. But anyway, we see a brick and we see some holes and a handful of young men and women standing there in the dark. They look a little bit older and wearing plain shirts and dresses, reciting some poetry. A nobleman who fell into a puddle thanks to his gaudy. None of his noble bearing was any help. Oh yes, this sounds like something John Milton's into. But of course they are all being terrible. But it's Gloria. She's reciting a poem. Nay, Gloria, yours is no proper life. You are to be a mother and a wife. Accept the kitchen apron for a gag, and lo, another voice now takes a crack. You're straying from your lot, you've got some nerve. Eyes down and be obedient and serve. Your husband, children, house, they are your absolute. Nay, Gloria, you are but rotten fruit.
Very well translated.
So they are reading poems. Oh man, they sure hate nobles. Well, I do too. Yeah, they're gonna get in trouble. Bad mouthing a noble will get you flogged into next week. Tomas is like, hey, let's chill out, big man.
Let's go ahead. We gotta show them our rap talents.
Gloria will not look at you. But for an illegitimate child like her, there are so few ways to forge your own path.
No rap battle today, dear Milton. course.
Well, Milton likes poetry, so this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, let's go ahead. We're gonna keep her secret. No downsides to that.
Milton is also a poet.
Fun fact: Milton was a poet.
Fun fact, John Milton was a poet. Alright. We're 14 years old. So soon after the trial, he leaves. Oh, Sir Gregor is ill. Oh no. He's getting dementia.
He is metamorphosizing, or metamorphosing, or, okay, whatever, transforming into Joe Biden. Go ahead.
Oh,
the call is coming from inside the house.
Oh no,
how the Bronte family.
He's
He's got sundowning.
Oh no, he's going. Oh no, he's going absolutely crazy. So this is actually how I look in real life. Just so you all know.
Oh shit! Yeah.
This is. Go ahead.
Like this is what do you call it? Sunday morning.
Yes.
Sunday morning, after a night out in Palermo.
I'm engrossed in the history of the Empire, snapping out of my reverie only when the clock strikes midnight. I blow out the candle, but then I hear shuffling, and he's like, "What's he doing in the hallway?" Oh no!
Corn Cob is here.
You foul! Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember what my grandfather voice was. You foul commoner! I can't do it. Oh no, he's gonna. You are my.
I have to cleanse my sins.
You are my.
I have to save my soul. You are my greatest sin. You and what you have done to Robert and his family. I should have put a stop to this marriage. I should have stopped Robert from tainting this house by your presence. Why, oh, why did I do it?
Oh yes.
Oh shit.
Oh no, I think he's gonna do a
I think he's gonna end hero.
Fire will cleanse all lowborn filth from this place. Eradicate lowborn filth. Oh no. Oh no.
The twins, they're calling for me now. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Oh,
Mother begins to cry.
He's got a lit oil lamp.
Yeah. He's gonna try to set fire to everyone. Kill the whole family. Let me warm the children. The children are plenty warm.
Worldly matters concern him no longer. He sees only his sins, and a sinner he is. A sinner, the twins, they forgive no one. They will judge me by the pillar. I must do something. I don't want to suffer for all eternity. Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
Alright.
What would Milton do? What would Milton do? Of course he's going to... Let it all happen. Divine providence. Solemn providence.
Let solemn providence do it. You think
Jesus
we could
Nah, then we'd die, I guess.
Yeah, do you think we could you think we could take the second death? Because I mean, what would Milton do?
Just die.
A fun game for the whole family. What would Milton do?
He would die. Kill his whole family. Fucking. He just stands in front of the grandfather and says, "Do it! Do it!"
What would Milton do? Let's see. If anyone's in the live chat, what do you think Milton would do here? What do you think Milton would do? You think he'd just let it happen, or do you think he would run away to rescue his family?
Like Milton's history. What did Milton fight in the war? Like,
no, I don't know. He wasn't. He didn't fight in the war. He was.
Did he have a horse run at him, and then he took the horse, subdued it, suplexed it, threw it out of the fucking ring.
Hold on, I need to Google this real quick. You know, I love how we're doing the Milton playthrough, and I have no idea what Milton's biography was.
Did Milton fight in the WWE? Did he take the belt? Did he fight the Undertaker? Who knows? You don't know.
Live chat. I need your assistance. Live chat. What do you think? What would Milton do in this situation?
You gotta maybe make a Twitter poll.
What would Milton do?
Just what would Milton do, and then the rest is just like.
Well, I know he was an official in the Cromwell government. I know that.
Did he fight Cromwell? Like just in the corridor sometimes. Cromwell exits his office, throws a few punches.
No, he was literally just like a shit poster. He didn't fight, from what I understand. Cromwell fought, and Milton was a minister in the Cromwell government, but I don't think he fought. Well, what do you think, Bobby? What would
we love our mother. Milton loves his mother. He's a big mother's boy. He under his pillow there's a little doll, like a Raggedy Ann doll, but a Russian one, the one you do in the kindergarten when you're a little kid. And he's like, "Oh, I love my mother. I'm not gonna let my mother die." So he runs up to Sir Gregor, bites his balls off or something, kicks him in the ass, fucking throws him down onto the bed, burns down the bed or something. He's got to stop him. He's a mean little gremlin, Milton's filled with the rage of 1,000 hungry goblins right now. Go ahead, stop him.
All right, we'll stop him.
Granddad must die. Granddad burns in hell.
I ruined everything. Oh, he died. Oop, I skipped a page.
He has a heart attack. He took the vax. He took the vax.
Grandpa's dead. All right, we're good.
True death. But the cool thing is that there's going to be a scene now where it turns out that Granddad is fucking burning in hell, and you're gonna see why. He's not in the pillars, he's not with the twins, he's not on top, he's not at the bottom, he is in
Purgatorio.
Yeah. No, he's not in Purgatorio. He's in the fucking tubes. He's in the pipes.
Hold on. He's living in our walls.
He's in the walls. He's in the walls.
All right.
Yeah, look at that.
And now we have to do the
final
funeral.
farewell.
We have to do the funeral for our shitty fucking granddad. I hate nobles.
Yeah.
I'm an Anglo-Marxist. I hate nobles of all kinds.
There's a sullen silence as you walk to the crypt. So look at this. Look at what's going to happen.
Your grandfather built this crypt, and now he'll be the first Bronte to remain in body forever. The first ever noble in our family.
Forever. He's in hell. He's not even at the bottom of the pillar.
He's in hell.
He's in the pipes. He's in your water cooler or water heater.
It is our duty now hold to this sacrament. Well, hold on. It is our duty now hold to the. Okay, yeah, that's fucking with me a little bit. It is our duty now hold to the sacrament of flowing blood for Sir Gregor. We will honor his legacy and join him as the founder of the noble Bronte dynasty. Stefan perks up at his father's words. His hands still clutch grandfather's sword. Tradition decrees that it must remain in the niche above the owner's sarcophagus. Nathan, on the other hand, looks even more frightened now. Stairs carved of white stone lead you downward. Down deep in the gloom of the crypt, atop a pedestal, you see the sarcophagus that holds grandfather's body. Father takes a moment to compose himself before paying his final respects. Gregor Bronte, my father, brought our family into nobility through his unshakable will. He was a judge and a loyal servant of the empire. He lived his life as if he had been born a noble, and he never strayed from the path he had chosen. He sought to make the Bronte family noble by the sword so that her children might be of noble birth. The twins know I abided by my father's words all my life, even if I could not obey him every time. Da-da-da-da. All of you remember his disastrous passing. He did not die the true death he deserved, yet we all must know he fought for the future he believed into the very end, and he would be proud to see his family bid him farewell with the sack. Would he, though?
No, he wouldn't be. He's angry. He's a fucking angry, mischievous ghost flowing forever in the pipes. A slender dagger.
So we're about to do some weird fucking blood sorcery.
Blood tide. Yeah, the blood tide. Slices his hand, holds the
I am
bleeding
a
cut above a
lowborn.
small opening in the wall.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, we can't do it. We gotta give the dagger back, of course. Milton.
Yeah, this is
Milton
the only
says
thing.
no.
This is the only thing I can do.
But that's pretty funny. Like you could do like an honorable playthrough,
Yeah.
and then you could like give a big giant fuck you to the granddad. You know, mix your blood with his. So yeah, fuck the granddad. Whatever. We're leaving soon. Cambridge, our home. Our land.
I know you never had it in you to rise above your meager birth. You had not a drop of nobility in you, you pathetic little brothers, that you're a taint of be gone from my crypt.
He's still speaking, still there, flowing in the pipes. Or maybe it's just Gregor AI.
All right,
Poor
excellent.
Nathan.
Excellent, excellent.
Wonderful. Everyone loves us.
I recall Sophia.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Another one.
Oh, she was sent to an Archnean family. The streets seem oddly agitated. An Archnean. Oh, he's looking for his sex slave.
Blue-faced motherfucker is here.
Oh no, Sophia's run away from him. This is just for context. This is the girl that I threw myself in front of horses and got killed to save.
Dude.
Oh boy.
Oh, what does the thing blue blood come from?
So, the thing from how it's been explained to me, it comes from Spain, actually, of all places, where the nobles during the period of the Reconquista and all that, they didn't have as much admixture with the Muslims and North Africans and things like that. Although Spain has always been a place of a lot of admixture, but they were the most like Visigothic. And Bobby, you know that the Visigoths were Germans, like they were blonde-haired, blue-eyed, you know, like all of the other Germanic tribes. They were Goths, but they made it all the way to Spain, and they ruled the Visigothic kingdom for several hundred years, which is I said this, I think, I don't know when I said this, but it's very much, I think I said this on one of Pete Quinones' shows, but you know, the Visigothic kingdom, just for. Sorry, small side. Spain was one of my undergraduate history specializations. I really love Spain. But, you know, the Visigothic kingdom was one of the most interesting and, like, prosperous kingdoms in the period called the Dark Ages. It's just, the thing is, it's really understudied because of, it's just overshadowed. You know, it's overshadowed not only by other kingdoms that were around at that time, but it was overshadowed by what happened in Spain before its existence and after its existence. You know, so it's really like this thing that not a lot... And to this day, you're seeing these, you know, old churches that are doing renovations in Spain in, like, the basement or something, and they just find this Visigothic floor in the basement because this church that was once a mosque... Also, before it was turned into a mosque, was once a Visigothic church because, you know, that's what happens in Europe. There's not a lot of space. And so, but the word blue blood comes from Spain because the Castilian and other nobles in the northern kingdoms would try to keep their pale. They would try to like this whole talk of keeping the bloodline pure and all that. Well, they would try to keep themselves from having as much admixture with sort of lower castes as possible, which resulted in very pale skin. And so, in order to like show their noble Visigothic status, they would have this really pale skin, and they would pull up their sleeves to show the veins of blood, because their skin was so pale that you could see the blue veins of blood. And I think that's where it comes from.
Well, it might also come from the fact that blue was a color associated with royalty.
Yeah,
it was really difficult to get.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think it's probably a couple of different things. Like all apocryphal stories. I mean, one of them is probably true, but they're all plausible. But we're going into this like warehouse, and we find Sophia.
She's almost an adult now.
Yeah, she ran away from the youngest aunt, and I might.
In fact, if she's 14, she's legal in Italy.
No comment. She's gonna be in for a lesser death, but she's a slave. She's basically a sex slave.
And they like I think he abuses her, but we don't know if he like straight up does anything to her.
It's heavily implied.
Yeah, I think so. All right,
her parents just straight up betrayed her. That kind of sucks.
No, we're not going to betray her.
One of them seems particularly snappy.
We don't like the nobles. We don't like the Archnians.
All will be forgiven. You will go back to where you were. You know it, and if you don't, I'll drag you out by the hair. Oh boy. This would be the shittiest thing.
Oh, try to stop on. Of course not. Man, we're definitely not a fighter. But although Sophia will die her first death. That's kind of weird. How would she even die her death?
So,
we got
okay,
plenty of
this
work.
okay. So I'm trying to think if this is any better than this, but we have this because we threw ourselves in front of horses, so we don't need to expend the willpower down here.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
We go ahead. Horses. Women like horses, so makes sense.
All right. Well, we already saved her, so we're gonna save her again.
Go ahead. Second save. Whole young Archean stares you down.
Oh, we're basically. Oh, he just bitch slapped me.
Oh shit.
They're chasing her, and I got bitch slapped. Oh no! The wench is a witch. The wench is a witch. Seize her. Oh no. Will I ever see her again? I will not see. You will not see her again until much, much later. And we got Matters of the Heart. Yay!
And hey, trusting.
She trusts
Meet
us.
a girl! There it is. That's the condition for Matters of the Heart. He falls in love with the first girl he sees.
Look, okay, you autists. You can do this too. Just create your own journal and keep track of the statistics of your own life, and give yourself the trait Matters of the Heart when you talk to a single girl.
You go to a cafe, the barista offers you a coffee, you pull out your massive fucking scroll, like a 4-meter scroll, you just unfold it in front of her, big quill pen, a little like ink, what do you call it, an inklet, an ink reservoir? No, what is it called? It's an ink holder.
Inkwell.
There's a word for it. Inkwell, yeah, you pull out your inkwell, dip the ink, big fucking strokes.
It's like the Family Guy.
Master orthography. You just.
You know that little clip from Family Guy, Peter writing and with the big pin. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Tap 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 tap.
Dip 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 dip.
Dip dip dip. Yeah.
I met a woman. Wait. I had a chance encounter with a maiden at the coffee house today. Dip, 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 dip.
Yeah, then you
Our
turn
hands,
around to her, you make
our
her
hands.
sign there.
Yes, it's so true.
Yeah,
Our hands.
she breaks the quill accidentally. You have an autistic fit of rage. As the police are dragging you out, the whole scroll is just dragging behind you. A small child gets mixed up in the scroll. Like
we
rolls
we
up.
we
Uh,
condone and encourage this. Please do it.
yeah,
Go to
definitely.
your
Oh
local
man.
Starbucks and
Mm.
whenever the barista says your name and says I hope you have a nice day, you have to make sure to pull out your massive scroll and your inkwell and your pen and write a whole thing of the event and have her sign it in front of you. Yeah.
Honestly, that's a pretty funny, public movement. What do you call it? Like a flash mob, where you have people that walk around and sort of their mundane experiences, they they kind of RPG log them, and they must carry these like massive books, attached to them with
So
a
apparently,
chain.
I found this out. Apparently, there's an
Yeah.
app that's called RPG Habit Trainer, and this is like, I looked at it and I'm like, fucking. I realized I didn't know whether to like it or to think to myself, man-made horrors
Like
beyond
it?
my
You mean
comprehension.
download it? You know?
Man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. But no, it's like apparently it is this app that like builds in-app statistics every time you do IRL stuff, and it's like it's a means to gamify existence and to get you to do things.
Yeah, but I'm
And
I'm talking about big fucking omnibus, like tomes that people carry with themselves,
yes, that would
attached
be.
to via chain. The hardest cover. I don't know, maybe laced
It needs to
with
have a strap and a belt buckle on it, and it needs to be
strap, belt.
it needs to be bulging with all of these various like unevenly cut pages and
Absolutely.
ribbons and markers and all of these other things, and it needs to be very finely embroidered, like the cover needs to be very finely
Mm.
stamped.
Yeah,
And
it's like when you go on a date, you sit down at a table, you plop down this enormous
yeah,
fucking book,
it's gotta
500 book,
It's gotta sound
boom.
like this. Hold on. You gotta like sit down at the dinner table with your interest, and it's gotta sound like that's how it has to sound. You just have to drop it right there on the table.
Dust. You
I,
blow the dust off of it, then like you with your finger, flip to page 480, boom, the other part is like sign here, fair maiden. I'm telling you,
I'm
this is like
looking.
a recipe for
I'm
for
look.
a wonderful public movement.
I'm looking at my 3-volume engraved Gibbon's Decline and Fall right now.
Yeah. This is my loving coffee arc. This is my date cell arc. It begins now, and then you could posit it as a safety movement. You could be like, well, you can't get guns. Get this massive book, walk in pairs, and then at night you get some hostile NPC Endermen coming up to you. You raise up the book initially. I mean, first of all, they're scared. It's a book, right? Terrifying, darkness. They don't know what it is, and then you just
We say
smack yeah,
so
smack
so
the soul out of him.
so Bobby, I'm gonna go get another cup of coffee, which would take me like not but 15 seconds. We named the stream John Milton Goes to Cambridge, but I don't know. I hope we get to the point where John Milton actually goes to Cambridge.
Actually goes to Cambridge.
Okay,
Okay, let's go ahead.
I'll be right back. Just give me 15 or so seconds. All right, Bobby, I am back.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's continue. The bloodstained sermon.
We are about to turn 15. I exchanged glances with Gloria. She wants to go to the tailor. No, don't.
One step away from adulthood.
I forbid it. The dirty heretic Photis is preaching his lies under the silver tree today. Uh-oh. He is the patriarch, the head of the clergy, but she's talking bad about a priest. Why is this? Once you leave the dinner table, Gloria comes to... She has a plan. We should sneak out of the house and go to the silver tree.
Yeah. So based.
And of course, we are committing the sin of intelligence down here.
Exactly. The most... we gotta sneak out. Disobey our parents.
There's barely enough room for you to squeeze through the crowd. We're climbing up to a roof. Tall, silver-haired priest step onto the platform, dressed in the common black robe that looks far beneath his rank, yet he stands like a noble. Behind his back is a banner flapping in the wind, the open book. This is the symbol of the new faith. Holds his hand up to the sky and begins this. So we're literally just watching John Calvin right here.
No, wait, did John Calvin write a book? Like a new Bible?
He didn't, no, he didn't write a new Bible. No. He just wrote a lot of commentaries. No one ever wrote a new Bible. Their thing was they were translating it.
Yeah, well, have you ever read like any other translations besides King James?
I have, but I've never read any translation that was not in English, because I can't read any language other than English.
I gotta read it in Russian sometimes, because I've only ever read it in English.
And in terms of English translations, the King James is and always will be the gold standard. It's the greatest piece of literature that's ever been.
No, because it's also a piece of literature.
Yes.
It is both a religious text and an art form.
Exactly.
You know how you can see in today's like public religion of, well, you can call it wokeness, but I don't know, I don't like that. Let's just say regime religion. And well, in regime religion, you have like a lot of theory and a lot of like sacred texts, like the white fragility, right? But no one reads it. No one likes to read it because it's a fully religious text. There's no art form in it. Something like that. Oh, Paul?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay.
No, I agree with you. Sorry, someone sent a photo of Bigfoot to me. And I had to look at it real quick.
All right.
But for all these years, the will of the twins has been interpreted for us by a single man, the prophet Isaiah. The twins are ever watching from atop the pillar. Of this we have no doubt, but can we so blindly believe that we truly follow their will by following the lots? Have we not seen the 3 lots of Isaiah fail again and again to answer the question of how we ought to live our lives? Have we not seen people change their lot in life again and again without being smitten by divine wrath? Every person, whether human or Archnean, lowborn or noble, must find their lot and their way to the gods on their own. So this is interesting. Before I keep going, Bobby, every ruling caste, to keep itself going, must keep 1 or 2 ladders open to the ruling caste. Would you agree or disagree?
The ruling caste or the ruling caste?
Caste. Like they always need to have at least 1 or 2 doors open for the lower castes to sort of enter the house of the ruling caste. You know what I mean?
You definitely need a circulation of the elites.
Exactly.
But I mean, maybe there are some things that should be hereditary, like
there are, but I'm just saying, like in the terms of like in the Middle Ages, new nobles were created from lesser families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Patriarch Photis is kind of lying, or maybe he's lying by omission, because even in this world, we can see that people can become, they can acquire different lots. You can have a revelation and become a priest. So you can go to war and you can become a noble. You can lose nobleship and become a peasant.
But and that's the thing, though, right? Because that was instituted in this world after the prophet Isaiah. That was instituted. If you read the story as it goes on, that was instituted by nobles in response to political concerns. As when the twins descended and the lots were set up, there was no way for anyone to enter into the ranks of nobility. But later on,
That's interesting.
during the rebellion of the Duke that we've read about earlier, that was instituted as a means of winning the loyalty of a lot of the humans who would have otherwise, they would have had no truck with the Emperor, and they would have sided with the Duke. So the reason I'm bringing this up, Bobby, the reason I'm going down this line of thought, we're never going to get to Cambridge.
Go ahead, Cambridge.
The reason we're getting into this, I'm getting into this line of thought, is that every elite needs a circulation mechanism, but every mechanism that circulates elites also serves as an entry point of poison into the elite caste, and always serves as a little facet of entropy. So it kind of does this. It's like a ship of Theseus argument, right? Every part you replace changes the composition of the ship to the point where eventually you look at the ship and it's a completely new ship. I don't know. But that's what Patriarch Photis is currently doing. That was done during the Protestant Reformation and other things like that, is that, like, the means of... And they always use similar arguments like this, like, hey, wait, this is being interpreted for us by this one dude, and it's failing us. And that may or may not be true, but either way, people will listen to it. But I digress. A very sort of Protestant message is being said here by Photis. And he says, from now on, we will seek the gods in the accounts of their own lives and their own acts in this world and their own words, as they very, like, Protestant sort of sola scriptura.
Sola scriptura.
Which, to be honest, I have sympathy for and generally agree with.
Sola scriptura is a very strong argument.
Yes, it is.
It's very difficult. You have to be kind of a little bit autistic to fully disagree with this, because if you're a peasant, then, well, it's difficult for you to imbibe fully the sola scriptura because you don't really read, and you do have to believe the priest. You have to listen to the priest, because he is not just a person that tells you pretty stories, or I don't know, tells you about religion. You don't really care about theology or like religion, really. You care about community organization. You care about living a good life, and maybe even communion with the spirit.
Yes.
Because, like, as Chesterton said, the magical things only seem to happen to people of, like, low birth, the people who can't invent it. People of low imagination, something like that. And so that's. And then it's difficult for you to, if the priest just tells you, oh, you just go ahead and read the Bible, and then he like plops down this 500, this big tome in front of you. I mean, you're not gonna read it. You might even have time to read it, but you're not that kind of person.
Yeah.
You need things to be told to you. You need things to be rhetoricized to you. You need this person that stands. Yeah.
Well, and that's why sermons exist, and that's why catechisms exist, and like much more smaller bite-sized snippets of like guided readings. Yeah, it takes a very special kind of person to sit there and just read the Bible of its own accord. Which is why I think any sort of translation of the Bible, making it more intelligible to people, is kind of foolish in the first place, because the people you're trying to make it intelligible for just aren't going to read it in the first place. But, the thing is that people misrepresent Protestant art. I'll tell you what, the whole of the online theology debating is just entirely misrepresenting of every side to every other side. Protestants misrepresent Catholics as Mary worshippers, and even recently it's been argued to me that calling Mary the Mother of God isn't at all like a bad thing, because if you believe that Christ is both God and man, and that Mary carried Christ in her womb, that if you do not call her the Mother of God, then that is questioning the divinity of Jesus Christ, which is a no-no. So that was the compelling argument that kind of got me to realize, okay, well, calling Mary Mother of God isn't exactly a Catholic thing, nor does it refute some other. Now, there's some other stuff that Catholics claim about her that I don't necessarily, and I'm not going to get lost in this. Not going to get lost in this.
Because this is a big argument, right?
I'm not going to get lost in this.
2,000-year-old argument.
Not going to get lost in this, but I will say this: one of the things that Catholics then do, now that I've given to the Catholics something Protestants misrepresent, now I'm going to tell Catholics something that they misrepresent. Protestants, in the doctrine of sola scriptura, do not say that Scripture is the only authority. Some churches, like the Baptists, do say that. But in the Reformed tradition, Presbyterians, they don't say that. We just hold Scripture, sola scriptura, as the sovereign authority, as in the highest authority, as in nothing is higher than Scripture. And our disagreement with Catholics, and some Catholics may say this is not the case, but our disagreement with Catholics is that Catholics say that church authority and tradition is just as sovereign, and in some cases more sovereign than Scripture. Now, if that's a misrepresentation, that's all good. I'm not here. This is not a theology debate. I am just saying this is a point of contention, and I don't like it when it's misrepresented. And the argument is actually a lot less heated than a lot of people want it to be because they want internet points. Anyway, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. All right,
let's go ahead.
Let's
go ahead. Patriarch Fortis, our favorite Protestant patriarch.
Yeah, but he is, and he's basically like, we all need to find God on our own. Then suddenly a horse. If there are no lots, does this mean that the nobles are going to till the fields and the commoners are going to bear arms? Oh no. Oh no. An odd figure leaps from the crowd a dirty beggar dressed in black and rags. A knife flashes. The blade slices. Blood starts spurting from Fotis's throat. He slumps over and collapses. Oh boy. We just watched someone get just fucking murked right in front of us. An old woman.
The CIA works in mysterious ways.
Tries in vain to apply pressure, but the nobles draw their swords. Dogs are barking. Oh boy. Chaos. It's a riot. We managed to make it back because we were on a roof. We don't discuss. This is unbelievable. A patriarch murdered in plain sight. The gendarmes, that's how you pronounce it, by the way. The gendarmes are the Archduke's guards and have searched every corner of the slums, and the murderous beggars disappear without a trace. Fotis has died a true death. But how? Why can't the patriarch be born? He's so close. Such is the way of the world, my children. Once you are granted great power, but there's no hope for you to come back, not even after the first of your death. Emperors, their powerful vassals, have the greater... Okay, gotcha. So apparently, if you're like a super high up person, you don't have lesser deaths. You only have one. Fotis is gone forever. I fear for his soul. It was lost in doubt. Will the twins accept him upon the peak? We must pray for the patriarch. Let us hope he managed to return the old faith before the moment of his passing.
Well, I'm sure he's going to the peak. He got killed by a dirty beggar, right? One of the less famous George Floyd exploits.
So true. But as you can see, the the province is kind of changing. You know, it's getting a little bit less ordered, and the church is getting a little bit less united. Tomorrow you turn 16, and we'll be a full adult. Okay, we're about to go to Cambridge. Your time at Sir Tibor's school has ended. You have studied enough to apply for the Imperial College and learn the judge's trade there. You are to travel to Eterna tomorrow. Your friend Tomas will go there with you to try his luck in the Imperial capital. Mother and father prepare you for the long journey. Remember, son, there is only one goal for you. You must become a student at the Imperial College. Your teachers dragged you through all those books for a reason. You have the knowledge and fervor to be a noble by the mantle as I was, and as my late father was before me. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one to write the name Bront in the Blue Book and ensure that your children's children will be noble by birth. Not likely, Dad. Then, Mother speaks to you carefully. There is worry in her eyes. But Robert, there may be another path for our son. Stefan, your firstborn, was born a noble. He will surely earn the title for the entire Bronte family. Your second son bears the favor of the twins. For him, the path of the priest is a worthy calling, no less than a nobleman's sword. They have been arguing about my future for a while, but she would never defy him. You smile at them both, and then Gloria laughs quietly. Just don't become a snoot like Stefan, and you'll do just fine. Mother chides Gloria for that.
Stefan's breaking my balls. He's breaking my balls.
You wink at your sister. Nathan has been downcast all. He barely touched his dinner. When everyone gets, he suddenly rushes over to embrace you. Please don't go. Can't you stay? I don't know what I'm going to do without you. You tussle his hair in response. There's no way you can stay now. But when you come home, and you will come home, you'll tell him all of your stories and bring him a special present. This is it. All your lessons have been learned, and all your things have been packed. Da, 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 da. Tonight is your last night at home. You walk through the room, the sitting room where Mother used to read you fairy tales, the library where Gloria used to spend all of her time, Father's study, which you enter only on special occasions, the backyard where you taught Nathan to build towers. The whole world feels so familiar, so dear. Will I ever return? It is getting late. Everyone's already Father, Mother, Gloria, Nathan. It will be a long time before I see them again. Well, I can't help Dad.
Who will we spend a few hours? Absolutely. Fuck, I don't know. I mean, Gloria and Mother, big possibilities. Ingenuity is pretty good. Yeah. You know, like Milton has helped his mother last time, right? When he BTFO'd the granddad into oblivion.
So true.
So,
well, Mom,
I'm sure.
I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
we're fairly spiritual enough. It's probably going to be between these two.
Yeah, we had a friggin' revelation. We got brought up to high heavens. So I'm sure it'll be Gloria.
Yeah, we're going to go to Gloria.
Talk to her.
She has something
By
to
the way,
tell me.
do you know what was the, in Paradise Lost, Satan goes to the gate of hell and he meets a woman that is cradling like a son.
Mm-hmm.
And then he realized that it is his like mother or sister or something that he had sex with, and that's his child. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Some weird thing. I didn't understand what was he like. What was the point of that?
I have no idea, man. I mean,
Yeah, okay. We'll definitely have a series of streams where we read Paradise Lost and Brothers Karamazov.
Yeah.
Maybe even together.
I think that's a really good idea, and we could do it like chapter by chapter, or book by book.
Yeah, chapter by chapter. Mwah.
We'd start with. I think we would start with Paradise Lost, but excuse me. Gloria says, "Look, this is a history of the noble houses. It was the I was telling you about this earlier. It's got the story of how humans were first ennobled. I read all of it, and guess what? It didn't happen until after the expansion of the empire. Apparently, there weren't enough Archneans for all the land. They just couldn't rule it all. Archneans have always treated humans like cattle, but human nobles are even worse. They're like their paltry copies now, bearing noble titles, wearing gem-studded jackets, bossing others around poison. They make me sick." Everybody says nobles were born to rule, but if you ask me, I say they're nobodies. There's nothing noble about demeaning others and living off their hard work. So true, Gloria. So true.
Living off their hard work. It's hard work living off someone's hard work. Yeah.
So true. Gloria, I mean, also true, but I'm an Anglo-Marxist and I hate nobles. Gloria is growing unusually agitated. You knew she's not exactly fond, but this is the first time you've heard such burning scorn. But then she stops herself suddenly. I just wanted to tell you, brother, you don't actually have to become a noble. If you're a noble, you'll have to follow their rules like Stefan does. You're not like him, I know it. You're not like other guys. Don't listen to mother, and definitely don't listen to your father. They just want you to blindly follow them. It's true, Sir Bronte spent plenty of money and effort on you, but the noble judges were his dream for you, not yours. It's time to think for yourself. I keep debating. Soon I start reaching into the history.
He's 15. He's 15, man.
Well,
you need to think for yourself.
Well, the thing is, though, is that like in the Middle Ages, 15, 16 was the age of adulthood. Like that was not like you're an adolescent. Like no, like you're a fully grown adult now. Like you got to be a big man. You know, you'd start.
Yeah, I mean, as my father used to tell me all the time when I was a little kid, when Alexander Nevsky was 14, he was leading an army to to kill the Scandinavians.
It's true. But they grew up a lot quicker back then, and that's because their socialization, they were a lot more fragile of a society, and life was a lot shorter, so they had to grow up.
I don't know if they were fragile as a society. I mean, they had a lot of anti-fragile things, as in decentralized logistics, decentralized governance. I mean, there was a lot of this whole. You could conquer like half of the country, and the other half of the country could just keep living.
Yeah, it's true.
It would not die. And so I don't know. I mean, maybe it was something about the food too.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something about the way that.
Well, it's just they didn't have the technology to have control at scale. You know, it's not that they didn't want to. It's not that they didn't try to. They just didn't. As you say, the supply chains were decentralized. They didn't have the technology they didn't have the social sophistication to organize. Because here's the thing, social sophistication always causes more centralization than technology itself does. I digress. Gloria is telling us to think for ourselves, find our own way, to be very Protestant.
Let's go ahead. We're going to Cambridge.
All right. It's actually, and we're a little bit over halfway through the stream, but we are in fact going to college.
We're going to Cambridge.
Last night was your
Hooray.
final night at home. The carriage is now waiting at the gate, ready to take you to the capital. The clip-clopping of the idle hooves against the cobblestones count the seconds before your departure. You take one more look at your parents' house and recall your childhood spent there, in the nearby yards, at your school, and on the winding streets of Anizote. You clashed with the greater world around you and survived. You felt the tingle of emotion for the first time. You were taught by the school in the streets. You explored the city of your birth and learned something of its past. You witnessed firsthand events that will be remembered by history for all time. All of this is yours now, forever. You saw death, lesser, followed by rebirth, and the true death that takes and never gives back. You saw death lying in wait to strike the unaware, like a beast stalking its prey. You saw grandfather's angry grimace lit by the flickering fire of the lamp, the Archduke's cavalry trampling those who stood in their way, and your older brother's bloodied sword slicing through the air. Death has followed you from a very young age, and yet you live on. You have a friend who has been by your side all these years. Tomas taught you many things, how to take a hit, how to keep your word, and how to remain true to your own self. And now Tomas is walking to the same carriage as you are, with a heavy bag slung over his shoulder. Your friend will remain your companion for the time being. Ahead of you is a long trip towards the capital and adulthood. For the first time, you will be away from your family and home. What awaits you in the future? Alright, so this is all the shit that happened to us. We really did, like, we did the circuit, you know.
Yeah, this was brain boiling.
We did
Adolescence
pretty much.
was difficult.
We pretty much did everything except for Blood Tide that you could do in this chapter. And we still got, you know, we got a little bit less than an hour left. So we can get started in going to Cambridge, our first year or so at Cambridge.
Totally.
So, but yeah.
Totally. But that also means we have a little bit more leeway with combos and stuff. But this is where the real meat of the game is.
Yes.
You're leaving your house. Stuff's about to get real.
So
the trading wheels have come off.
So yeah, we've done pretty well statistically. We've got some pretty decent willpower saved up, and we've only died once. So now enters into our youth, into our coming of age, really, when we're first getting oriented to the world.
Leaving my hometown behind, I set out for the capital of the empire. There, I would discover my role in society.
The voice actor that they have, who only says like a couple of lines. Okay, real quick. I love this drawing. I remember it. You know.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
it's the guy on the cliff with the misty mountains.
Yeah, basically, it's extremely romantic. You know, it's basically you see the one man, and this is literally you, by the way, because it's meant to. It's this one man with this great sprawling world set out before you, and you're just on a vista enjoying it. But yes, I love this engraving. I remember it very specifically, but. This is sort of the great time when of your life when the Lord gives you everything. The driver flicks the reins, the carriage slowly sways. And there's a time of your life, real quick, where the Lord starts taking those things away. And, you know, by the grace of the Lord, I will not be there for a very long time, nor will you be, Mr. Bobby. We are still in that period where the Lord is giving us things. But it's a grand cycle. You're meant to learn that nothing is permanent, that you are given quite a few things and you take care of them, and then no matter how well you take care of them, they are taken away from you very slowly and then a lot quicker. Such is life. Such is the world east of Eden. But anyway, that was also one of the things I learned from watching The Notebook last night, and one of the reasons why I bawled my eyes out. Anyway. The driver flicks the reins. The carriage slowly sways as it starts moving away from your home. You stick your head out the window and wave goodbye to your family. Nathan is running after the carriage with Tomas, your younger brother, in tow. With Tomas's younger brother in tow, tears glistening in their eyes. Hurts to leave your home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the imperial capital. You have often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It is a city that surpasses Anizote enormously in terms of size, age, wealth, and beauty. But what is it really like? What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there? Where will your actions take you? All right, fellows, we're doing Goethe's Italian years. We're going to Rome. We're going to Rome, Bobby.
We're going everywhere. I mean, I read that book, wonderful book. Goethe, at one point, begins to understand the pressure that European time applies onto the feeble Italian mind. He's like, those poor Italians, their time flows in a completely different way to ours. And then he makes a whole fucking diagram where, like, you have circles that, like, meet each other at halfway and all that stuff. Like, and I was like, man, he's so correct. This is why when my friend tells me that he'll be there at 8 p.m., he actually comes in at 12 o'clock during the night. It's just because of the time. And I mean, I agree with Gilty, like all of his stuff when he asks, hey guys, where's the toilet? And the guy just looks at him and says, wherever. And then he like reveals that their nobles have this massive yard and people just shit in it. People just
they just can't be bothered. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that if you compare the American South versus the American North. It's very much like that.
I mean, admittedly, he was going through Italy as it was seeing its apocalypse, basically the end of everything.
Yeah.
The revelation of everything, and he was seeing dying traditions, dying kind of countrysides, and all that stuff. But it's awesome.
So was that Peter the Great for Russia?
Oh, I really don't know.
Or was it the communists?
It was weird because Peter the Great, it's there wasn't that much conflict between what he was bringing in. I mean, what he brought in, tobacco. I guess Russians really like tobacco. But then he brought in the army, especially the flotilla, the what do you call it? The maritime fleet. The fleet. He was the first guy to organize the Russian fleet. And then he brought in empire,
Fun fact,
books.
By the way.
Yeah.
Fun fact, by the way, the founder of the U.S. Navy, John Paul Jones, was employed by, I don't think it was Peter, but Catherine the Great as an admiral in the Russian fleet in the Russian fleet after the end of the revolution, because John Paul Jones, I think, was disgraced in the United States. And
but I mean, Peter the Great was like, he came in during a bad time.
Yeah.
In Russian history. Did he leave a worse time after him?
I don't
know.
I think
it's difficult to say what was a good time for Russians.
So I mean, you're right that every nation kind of had its own apocalypse years. Goethe was going into Italy during its apocalypse, the dying traditions around the sort of Napoleonic era. Germany's apocalypse, I think, was the 30 Years' War. France's
Man, are you kidding me? Come on. Germany's apocalypse was the Second World War, easily.
No,
most of the population died. Most of their cities were destroyed.
No, I disagree because
I think so?
Because there was no Germany in the Second World War. It was just Prussia. That's all it was. It was just like it was a dying Prussia. Like Germany, in all of its like multivaried, decentralized, anti-fragile tradition, died during the 30 Years' War. It just ceased to be a thing. And Prussia being the sort... Fanged Noumena can only unify everything if everything else is dead. And so that's why you see great periods of imperial expansion happen after great sort of impoverishments of culture and all of that.
Is America going through its death now? Or did it die during the Civil War?
It didn't die during the Civil War. I don't even think the South died during the Civil War. But like, and that's a contentious term, a contentious take, but I don't think America is undergoing its death right now. And as a matter of fact, I think by unifying the world under a certain system, America is actually fertilizing the whole world to be a decentralized system once again.
Because everyone hates it. Everyone fucking hates what America has done to the world.
But here's the thing: it's necessary because it's kind of like how Rome planted the seeds for a new decentralized world. As it was unifying everything, and it was becoming the more it tried to unify, the more disunified it became. Anyway, but like, yeah, every country has its sort of apocalypse period. For France, it was probably World War I. Yeah, for France, it was definitely World War I. That was its apocalypse period. Some may argue it was the wars of religion, and the sort of unify. But I don't know so much about that. For England, it was definitely the English Civil War that did it. For Spain, I don't think. I wonder what it was for Spain. It wasn't. It might have been the Spanish Civil War for Spain. But the thing is, they had. Anyway, we're kind of trying to do a 1-to-1 for all of these countries, and it's not helping very much. But for Germany, their apocalypse very much was the 30 Years' War, which just kind of ended this flourishing sort of medieval society of like all of this variety. Like you could travel 5 minutes from one village in Baden-Württemberg to another village in Baden-Württemberg and find just a completely different set of traditions and ways, even the dialect. And all of that was just eviscerated in the 30 Years' War. You know,
the 30 Years' War is with the guy. What's his name? The king. The one who unified Germany. Is that what you're talking about?
No. The 30 Years' War was the Protestant versus Catholic War.
Oh, okay, yeah, got it.
And it wasn't actually like the Protestant versus Catholic War, because Protestants fought on the side of the Catholics and Catholics fought on the side of the Protestants. Most notably, France fought for the Protestant League, and a lot of Germans fought for the Emperor, who were themselves Protestant. Anyway, I digress. This is where you get my favorite military general of all time, Albrecht von Wallenstein, and he fights. This is like proof that God likes it when cool things happen. At the Battle of Lutzen, when arguably the two greatest generals of their day, Gustavus Adolphus and Albrecht von Wallenstein, meet head to head one time, and Gustavus Adolphus wins at the cost of his own life.
Oh shit! What do you mean he wins at the cost of his own life? Did he suicide?
The Swedish forces were victorious tactically at the Battle of Lutzen versus Wallenstein's imperial army. Even though Wallenstein had the superiority of numbers, Gustavus Adolphus had the superiority of tactics. However, Gustavus Adolphus, I think, was killed in a cavalry charge during that battle. And so even though he did win the battle, the Swedish army was deprived of basically its great commander, its great general, and just kind of was basically rendered impotent in the 30 Years' War afterwards. Wallenstein, of course, even though he won, he was killed by imperial court politics because they thought he was going to betray the emperor and all that. This is the thing, like every empire's greatest and most competent people are always killed by their own court politics. Well,
every empire gets destroyed by itself.
Exactly, and that's how it works. But I digress. We're kind of getting lost in the weeds, but we're gonna keep going.
Let's go ahead.
What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there? And where will your actions take you? You pass the old walls of Enizote. Somewhere within them is the old fortress you and Thomas built together out of old wooden planks, now left to the care of your younger brothers. You two are adults now. Perhaps your fortress will crumble now then, or perhaps your brothers will continue what you started. Who knows? You look down at your hands, knuckles covered in scars from street antics, fingers stained with ink. Mother gave you a cross to wear.
One thing. Look, we got 30 minutes. You can read it slower. Just like go at your pace. I think we went over a lot of stuff. This is like the introduction. Let's do the introductions kind of slower.
Mother gave you a cross to wear away from home, and now you can feel its warmth against your chest. Your family counts on you, even though they all wish a different future for you. But they are behind you now in Enizote. From this point on, only you will decide which road you will take. This is the journey you prepared for throughout your entire childhood. Ahead of you lie many years in the capital, years that will determine your fate and your place in society. Okay, we got some pretty good diplomacy.
Have you ever felt like that? Like what this introduction told you?
That well,
that you were like entering the city and this was your adult life or something.
I mean, I went to college in a so real quick, I'm not going to go through this real quick. I'm going to explain what this is once I finish explaining my thing to Bobby. I've never had like a moment where it's like I'm leaving home and going into the big city, because I went to college in a very small liberal arts college. It's a very southern thing. this neoclassical Greek sort of liberal arts college in the rolling hills of the Piedmont, surrounded by forests in this very small town that's kind of like its own self-contained world. And I've only recently started to appreciate that. But I mean, I've never had this like I'm going into the big city to find my place in the world. I mean, maybe when I moved to the capital of Virginia, but even then it feels like I'm still kind of in this provincial sort of world, and I'm not like in the big city yet. I'm imagining it may happen at some point. Like I may be, because I live very near to the nation's capital. I live very near to Washington, D.C., and it's kind of the world I've been in my whole life, but I've never spent a lot of time there. I bartended in Arlington, which is where the Robert E. Lee's house used to be, where the National Cemetery is now. And that's the part of Washington, D.C. that's on the Virginia side of the Potomac River. But I mean, I've never lived in a big city to kind of determine my place in the world or feel like I'm going into that role. And maybe that's just because America doesn't, strange as it may seem to say this, America doesn't place a lot of emphasis on its cities as compared to other countries, because America's just so damn big that you can find gainful employment pretty much anywhere in the United States without having to be in a big city. So you can be out in the suburbs or the countryside without like farming or something like that. So maybe if I had commissioned as an officer, and maybe if I, because my plans right now are to go to law school. Maybe in my junior associate years as a lawyer, I'll live and work in the big city. But maybe it would have felt different if I had gone to a big university inside of a city. Maybe that would have felt different as well. But no, Bobby.
Will you be
a
lawyer? Will you be a lawyer for the Old Glory Club?
I mean, you're assuming that the Old Glory Club doesn't already have its lawyers?
I mean, how many lawyers does Disney have?
Does Disney have like, tens of thousands, very likely?
There you go.
But I digress. Bobby, have you ever come to a point in your life where you felt like you were going into the big city?
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
not at all. It was always I was getting dragged around by my parents.
Yeah, I guess we both kind of feel like we've been in the provinces our whole life.
Perpetual childhood, yeah.
Perpetual provincialism.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, by the way.
Well, I don't know. I mean, St. Petersburg is like 17 million people or something.
Yeah.
And then I went to Montreux, which is like 90,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Kokomo, which is like 9,000 people.
Well, St. Petersburg doesn't feel like, at least from the pictures I see, doesn't feel like a city of 17 million people.
It does not, but it's a big city, and there's a lot of like, it's just a big city. Like sometimes it does feel like it, but yeah, you could, like, for example, I remember I went there in 2013 at 12, well, like midnight, right? I get out and I go to the library, and the library is open, and well, the streets are the Nevsky Prospect, which is the big street, in the center. No one's there, like completely empty. And yeah, there's some like cars passing around, but it really doesn't feel like a city of 17 million. However, KFC on Saturdays, yes, you definitely feel like it's 17 million.
KFC?
Well, yeah, back when KFC, St. Petersburg, wonderful. Wonderful. Best KFC I've ever had.
So it's like is it like a fast food place, or is it like a sit-down restaurant?
No, it's a fast food place.
Okay.
Russians are not Japanese.
Okay, gotcha. Well, so anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, Bobby. I was gonna.
No, go ahead with the new personal qualities.
So yeah, another thing I like about this game is that you spend your childhood and your adolescence building up qualities that then in your adulthood combine to have like more specialized tasks, more specialized qualities, which is why This has an element of gameplay to it. Like, you cannot make decisions if you do not have a sufficient skill in certain qualities. So your perception and your willpower combine with your adolescent qualities to lead to your more specialized. So, for example, we have 10 perception, and you can see right here, for most skill checks, you will need a value between 10 and 16. Values 17 and 19 are required for rare and especially difficult choices. The maximum value only gives you a chance for one extraordinary deed, which all happens towards the end of the game. But perception and nobility combine for diplomacy. We are very influential. Perception and ingenuity combine for manipulation, and we are one shy of 20. Perception and spirituality combines for theology. Determination and nobility combines for valor. Yeah, we suck. We can't fight to save our lives. Determination and ingenuity combines for scheming.
Speed in battle.
Yes, we're not particularly good at scheming. We can see if we can improve this somewhat. We're not particularly eloquent either. So basically, we're autistic writers.
Hey, that works, right?
And here we go.
It works for Milton.
And here we go. We've got the path of the lotless, the path of the priest, the path of the nobleman, and then you can experience true death as early as this. And at any time of this game, you can have 4 deaths and die, and that's the end of your life. But there's also a bunch of minor events. You know, stuff happens. Yeah, you can do different stuff depending on what you're going to do with your life.
Go ahead. We'll start chapter 3.
We will indeed start chapter 3.
Diplomacy and theology are hard. Also, manipulation 19. Con artist.
So yes, we're going to be a behind the scenes schemer, but we are not at all front facing at all. Much like Milton. It takes a whole month to reach Eterna. You and Thomas are spend the days wagging your chins and staring at the scenery as your carriage makes its way along the road and towards the next province. Soon it crosses from the familiar barren, arid lands of Magda to the stately mountains of Illyria. During one of your many stays at a roadside inn, the two of you even manage to share a whole bottle of strong wine and keep it a secret from the servant who drives the carriage. Adult life feels positively intoxicating. Soon, I tell you, soon we'll be there, and I'll earn my sword as soon as I get accepted into the military academy. You'll see, and then nobody's going to walk all over me like I'm some commoner. You keep rehearsing everything they taught you in school. Soon you are almost at the end of your long journey. You have left behind the arid rocks of Magra, the mountains of Illyria, and the flooded meadows of Archnia. Eterna, the capital, is right ahead. Situated at the junction between the Reglata and Talrina rivers, the city is vast. 3 majestic stone bridges keep its 3 shores interconnected. Smooth stone paves the main city streets. Gilded moldings decorate the buildings. Towering pillars reach high into the sky. Your carriage takes you past a spacious park with marble fountains and intricately trimmed bushes. On the streets you see ornately decorated carriages bearing Archnean coats of arms and abundant merchants' tents filling the streets with beckoning cries and unusual sights. The spires of ancient temples dot the city's skyline. The carriage comes to a halt on a large city square with a towering marble fountain. The coachman says you have arrived. Tomas is to apply to the military academy. The academy barracks are 2 streets away. Your lodging house is in the alleyway nearby. A room has already been reserved for you. You get out onto the street and say brief goodbyes to each other. You promise to meet again after the entrance exams. Then your friend disappears into the crowded streets of the capital. You are left to your own devices in this vast city. A group of nobles walk past. They are dressed in well-fitting clothing decorated with gems and golden thread. You are not even noticed. Street urchins chase a dog down the alleyway. Soldiers of the Imperial Legion are marching to fifes and drums towards the barracks. Humble pilgrims are gathering to the great temple of the twins. There are the sounds of music and fountains and the smells of baked bread and garbage trains. You quickly check in at the lodging house, then go back outside. The sun is setting. The streetlights come to life. Merry music fills the taverns. Couples and noble coaches are with tinted windows fill the streets. Shadow. I didn't know we had American blacks in this game. Shadows.
The noble coach is a, yeah, it's like officer. What is it? I'm sorry, sir. Your windows are too black. Your windows are too tinted, and then he just, he starts whipping his horses faster to go. The policeman grabs onto the coach. Oh man, huh? When did tinted windows like appear for?
I think
it's kind of
they've
weird.
always been a thing as long as carriages has been around. I think it was a thing, but I guess you can see whatever the noble class is by how tinted their
Yeah,
windows are.
the blacks are just embodying, the spirit of the nobles by tinting
Well,
their mustangs.
well, Cringe Walker has this point that actually in the current regime that blacks are in fact the knightly noble caste because they get the most handouts, the most free stuff, and are the most protected legally, and they're the
They're
most.
not the nobles; they're the holy caste. They're like the holy martyrs.
Well, he calls
That's
them. He
why.
calls them the knight caste, is what he calls
Yeah,
them.
I don't know. Because like there was a Reddit post about this guy washing this black dude at his school that was homeless and didn't have a shower, and then he got shouted at. Well, it's because they suffer for our sins. George Floyd died so you could have computers. George Floyd died so that the Industrial Revolution happened. George Floyd died so that LGBTQ rights have been made manifest.
I'm gonna be
It's
real
very
with you.
important.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not going to. I don't like pretending. I don't like making jokes, even in even tongue in cheek, like that. Because what it does is it actually unintentionally it makes it very cool.
Yeah.
It makes it seem very cool.
Yeah, I mean you're right, but that's the way they see it. That's the way that all of this works. Kind of, it is you can't have blacks without the violence, like the police violence or something. And
Yeah.
it's clear that no one wants to stop it, and it's quite clear that the people like this. People that each time something like this happens, people try to make it into a story. They try to make it into a big ritual. They try to make it into a day. They're like, oh, Trayvon Martin is like part of this chain of martyrs and whatever.
Well,
And it's real.
You're right.
Right.
It is real, and it's because that the founding religion, or at least the civic religion of our society currently is the civil rights era. That's the founding myth of the current regime, of the current order on both sides. And that's why when you have this dude who's like, these people in like the Tennessee legislature who are talking like a diet dollar store MLK, everyone suddenly gets behind. It's like, oh my God, we're reliving the founding myth again, and and it basically, in order to oppose the way things are now, you have to oppose it almost entirely. You have to oppose, and by opposing it, you need to offer an alternative. You need to offer an alternative founding myth. America has had many founding myths, has had many regimes, many things that they looked and drew inspiration from.
What was the founding myth of Hoover?
Of Hoover, well, of that period, the sort of Great Depression period, the founding myth, that was actually a very heavily nativist period, because this was when the WASPs were really getting into their founding myth was sort of like the Wilsonian Great Reconciliation between the North and the South. It was like America as this bastion and shining light of democracy, enlightening the world, bringing religion and civilization everywhere, but not like those evil old out of touch Europeans did it. We're doing it the enlightened way. But it was also, there was a very heavy nativist element. This was the Klan was still big at this time.
The Klan?
yeah,
You mean the KKK?
Yes, the Klan was very big
Oh.
at this time. As a matter of fact, it was used as an unofficial arm of the government, to kind of keep, rowdy elements in line. You can read about this in the book Tri-Faith America, because Catholics and Jews were very much a sort of out group trying to, much the same way that myself and others are in the United States right now, they're trying to scheme their way into power through whatever means they could, and the government was trying to keep them out of power through whatever means they could. But, time was on the side of, time is, as Arnold Toynbee says, time is always on the side of the barbarian. And the barbarian is anyone who is the out group, and the barbarian is always the next ruling group. So this is why I'm just completely assured of our victory and our eventual fall, is because we are the barbarian, we are the out group, time is on our side, but eventually we will win, and then we will become soft, and it's the perpetual side. Anyway, but yes, like that's you're right, Saint Floyd, this is just an attempt to recreate the civil rights sort of myth. And basically they make Lucifers out of anything that oppose that, which is why you have people like Ron DeSantis on a Twitter space freaking 50, 60 years later saying segregation is bad. Because you have to make appeals to the civic religion, which is always something that exists partially separate from, and often overlapping with the what's the word I'm looking for? What's the opposite of secular?
Theocratic.
The theocratic religion, yeah. So the civic religion or the secular religion often exists outside of, but overlapping with, the actual theocratic religion. But the best states, the most well-run states, are when the civic religion and the theocratic religion are intertwined and they're combined. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of where it is now. But this is old hat. We're arriving in the capital, and I quickly check in at the lodging house and then go back outside. The sun is setting. The street lights come to life. Merry music fills the taverns. Couples and... Oh, wait, we're already here. You are all alone in this city, with this city, so vast and unfamiliar. You take a look around, determined to fill your first night in the capital with memories. You see young nobles gathered by the fountain, talking and making jokes excitedly. One of them keeps glancing at the clock tower. They are about your age. Their clothes are hand-tailored, and two of them bear noble swords. They seem to be waiting for something. It might be a good idea to make their acquaintance. It would be most helpful to develop a familiarity with the influential nobles of the capital. Loud music from a large establishment on the corner distracts you for a moment. The servants have just opened the shutters to air out the hall. It seems there will be a gathering outside. People from various estates greet each other as they take their seats. A servant by the door of the establishment hails you. Sir Gert Arkwright will be making a speech about the rights of the common estate. If you wish to listen, you better get inside quickly. Then you look at the great temple of the twins at the far end of the street. The pillar shines in the evening dusk above it. The temple gates are open and worshippers are flocking inside. There are too many people for an ordinary service. This must be something important. What do they preach here in the capital? What do they say of the new faith and the teachings of Patriarch Photis? You snap out of your reverie when you hear loud laughter. A group of young men dressed in the colors of the Imperial College have made the acquaintance of several lovely girls. They are making their way down the road, united by merriment. One of the girls smiles at you. It is an invitation to join them. They turn the corner and walk away, but you can still hear their voices ringing and echoing through the street. A night of revelry and jolly, loud fun doesn't sound half bad. This is your first night in Eterna. No matter what you choose, you will remember it for a long time to come. So, Bobby, what do you think we should do? We can meet the noble youths, which will bump our diplomacy and manipulation at the cost of our willpower. We can listen to Arkwright's speech and bump our manipulation and eloquence at the cost of our willpower. We can visit the great temple, theology and eloquence at the cost of willpower. Or we can build up some willpower and run after the students and basically just have a night on the town. What do you think we should do?
I mean, look, it's Milton, right? I mean, Arkwright's speech, pretty good, and Temple of the Twins, pretty interesting, because one is rhetoric, the other one is, religion. I don't know. What would Milton do?
Well, I can tell you, I don't know what Milton would do, Bobby, but I can tell you for a fact what I would do.
Yeah, what would you do? Yeah, you would try to get some pussy. Yeah,
basically, yes. Yeah, that's... Look, it shows that you're a healthy young man with a love for life.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, but we're not playing as a healthy
Well,
young man.
I don't know how much
We're
about
playing
Milton.
as a weird con artist, like an autist. We're playing as an autist, right? So I mean,
Real,
he's not gonna go.
real quick.
He has no love for women. He knows Sophia, and Sophia's fucking weird,
That's so
right?
true. This is so true, Bobby.
And he died for her. He died for her. And she was like, "Whoop, whatever, whatever, bro. You felt, horses smashed your skull open. Well, I don't care, My mom told me not to go outside. I get the ick from men who die for me, cringe. She gives them.
Well, I'll tell you what. RNG gaming favors this more.
Yeah, you think Great Temple or Archive?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair
Ah,
enough.
Noble youth. No, he doesn't care. He has Thomas for
So
love.
true. And
He's
I
got
mean,
he's a man. He's a Thomas man. So
there will be other opportunities. This is actually the least RNG, but I actually think this is the thing Milton would do, is he would go to the temple to listen to the service.
yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go to the temple. Let's see. Let's see what happens there.
You follow the worshippers and barely make it into the overcrowded great temple of the twins. Even this enormous hall of stone is not enough to fit so many people. The commoners' half is absolutely packed. There are no free seats left at all. The crowd is buzzing in anticipation. You hear reverent whispers. The preacher for today's evening service is Father Ulrich, one of the leaders of the punitive branch of the church. A man dressed in a
The
long black cassock and wearing a silver...
the Inquisition.
Yes, sir, the Inquisition. And wearing a silver cross appears on the raised platform by the altar. He bears a rolled scroll on his side and held tightly by a silver seal. You try your best to see his face, chiseled features, sunken cheeks, bald head. Father Ulrich looks at the crowd with his steely eyes, and the hall falls
Yeah,
silent.
he's a yogurt male. He practices the holding the tongue against the roof of the mouth. He's sucks in his cheeks. He does he's squint maxing. So let's go ahead.
Ye who live in Eterna, I see before me the faces of true believers. We are not united before the twins, yet in our faith in them we are united. The twins are the guiding light in the darkness of our life. The twins are the only incontrovertible truth of this world. So says Isaiah in his first book. The twins are law and will and love. But the will is above all, for this will came law. From this will came law, and love too was born from the will. The twins had the will to bring us those three gifts, and so the great Arachnean Empire came to be. The twins had the will to lead us, and so we are no longer lost in the darkness, now guided by true faith. The twins brought their teachings to us when the empire was founded, and so they created the very foundations of our lives, the knowledge of the lots, and of the hereafter, and of the paths we must follow in life. This is their legacy, and their gift to us. So heed these words, you who are righteous and live by your lot. You shall be brought to the peak of the shining pillar for an eternity of bliss. But you who live in defiance of your lot, you shall endure eternal suffering at the foot of the pillar. Every soul will face the stern gaze of the twins upon their true death, and answer for every misdeed. There is no escape from this judgment. So heed my will, for it is the will of the twins. Follow your lot in life, and follow the words of Isaiah, and then you shall reach the peak of the pillar awaited by our gods. You have heard these words many times, in the temple, in your theology lessons, from Mother, and in the pages of books. But Father Ulrich's speech reaches far, far deeper. It seeps into the very hidden depths of your soul, breaking, binding you to the will of these words. There is no resisting this will. Father Ulrich is right. There is no task more crucial than living by your lot so you may face the judgment of the twins in the hereafter. All doubt you had before your visit to the temple is gone. You feel joy at each word spoken by Father Ulrich. The truth was revealed to you all along, yet you allowed it inside you only now. You know the twins are always watching over you, always guiding, always protecting, always judging. The sermon ends in the small hours of the night. The sky is tinted by the pink shade of the coming sunrise, and the shining pillars standing tall against the heavens. You return to your lodging, prepare all your things for the coming day, and drift off to sleep free of any fear or doubt.
First day, and we've already subscribed to Andrew Tate.
So
We're
true.
gonna be his top G.
So true.
I'm his top G, brother. So weird. Andrew Tate came out of nowhere. Right? He's this strange figure that isn't even like right wing. He's a whoremonger.
Yeah.
Or a what do you call it? A pimp. Yeah, he's a pimp. That's weird, in it's pimp in English, but it's souteneur in Russian, which is a French word, which means keeps under. So yeah, pimp is definitely. Is there an old English word for pimp?
No, I don't know.
But there must be one, right? Like, 'cause this is an ancient profession.
I mean, it is an ancient profession. I mean, pimp is, I think, the newer word. I mean,
yeah. What did they used to say before pimp?
Ich habe keine Ahnung.
Okay, that's German.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I understood from that.
You have real quick, we're going to get started on Luke's sermon. This is the opposite of what we heard. You have spent the last 3 days studying books, but today you decide to take a walk through the streets of Eterna. They are full of life as usual. You proceed to the square next to the lodging house. A procession of priests walks through the square. You notice that one of them holds a banner of the new faith, an open book. This is the same banner that was behind Patriarch Photis on the day of his assassination. A crowd immediately gathers around them. Many people are looking at an icon painting on a small pedestal depicting a gray-haired man with glowing green eyes. You recognize that face, the face of the late Patriarch Photis. A man with a thick beard appears by the icon painting. His broad shoulders bear a white and gold cloak with the coat of arms on the capital province embroidered on it. He is Luke, Patriarch of Archnia. He casts his stern gaze over the crowd. This is the most orthodox-looking priest you're ever going to find. I speak to all who live within the sight of the shining. Actually, Bobby. I'm gonna do my Russian accent, and you are going to critique.
Go ahead.
I speak to all who live within the sight of the shining pillar. Exactly 1 year ago, we lost Photis, Patriarch of the Magra province, mentor of the new faith. Patriarch Photis was the first to see the books of Isaiah for nothing but the words of a man, not the words of the twins themselves. He was the first to tell people to seek the path to the gods in their own hearts instead of blindly following the lots, to seek answer in the lives of the twins and their own hearts rather than the words of priests. Through Patriarch Photis, we were able to see the truth. Through his death, we saw that his words are not heresy, that they are the truth that used to be obscured by Isaiah's lies. And now I bring good news. Patriarch Junius Diamant has seen to it that our teacher will be canonized as a saint. Yes.
Yeah, but you gotta pause. You gotta read the as z, as z.
And,
yeah.
Okay. Yes, Junius Diamant, an Archnian from a great dynasty, and the Patriarch of Asdiania, has joined the new faith himself. And through this, we hope that the entire empire will soon see that our doctrine is the truth. We are free from the shackles of the lots We are equal before the twins. With each day, more and more people hearken to the truth. And one day the entire empire will hear our call. So let us pray, my brothers. The believers...
It's very truly John Wickian.
The believers around you bow their heads in prayer and thank the twins, not for the lot they were given as they usually would, but for the chance to choose their own path. The patriarch's sermon is inspiring. It compels your hands to meet in a sign of prayer. It compels your lips to repeat the words of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermon forms a cadence, and your heart beats in time with it now. You recall the murder of Patriarch Photis a year ago. It seems more patriarchs share his doctrine now. The news of Junius Diamant joining the new faith is stunning. If an Archnean from a great dynasty has sided with Photis' doctrine and agreed to see everyone as equals under the twins, the new faith must truly be putting down roots. But suddenly several figures appear by the podium, figures clad in black with glinting silver on their sides. Inquisitors! They push through the crowd and form a circle around Patriarch Luke. One of these priests rises before the crowd. He is clean-shaven, tall, with chiseled features. Everyone falls silent at the sight of him. The Inquisitor speaks with a booming voice that can be heard by all.
Andrew Tate, let's go.
I am Father Ulrich, in the name of the twins and by my right as an Inquisitor, I order you to turn around and leave. The words you're hearing are full of lies. Patriarch Luke has set out to poison your hearts and minds, and the Inquisition will not allow this heresy to spread. The only true path in life is the will of the twins. Life offers us no other choice. You are hereby ordered to disperse at once. Most people leave the square immediately. Few want to get involved with the Inquisition. Some people stay, however, and some even shout angrily, "We want to listen to..." Oh, go ahead.
Pause 1 second. I don't know. I don't think Andrew Tate has the voice of Mayor Quimby from Simpsons. I'm sorry. Like that's you gotta like how to say it? Make it a little bit shorter. Like don't make him drag out the sounds as much. The kind of the nose is fine, but the lips are a little bit too long.
Okay, but, I'm sorry. I haven't been a top G.
You gotta practice your Quimby impression.
I have not been a top G. And some even shout angrily, "We want to listen to Luke. He's the Patriarch of Auckland and he has more to say. Get away from our sermon, old believers. We will not listen to you and your hoary old lies about the lots." And we're gonna go to Greg's afterward. We're gonna see the football match after the new sermon at Greg's. I've got 15 pounds on Ngubu scoring 2 goals.
Ngubu, my son.
Inquisitors, bring those who may yet listen back to their lots, and leave the others to the champions of the faith. Is that better?
Yeah, better, definitely.
The black-clad Inquisitors descend from the podium and approach the people who chose to stay. With nothing but their words, they make people stop shouting and start listening. The uproar ceases quickly. They have dissected the crowd, split it into smaller groups that surround each Inquisitor. One of these Inquisitors chooses to approach you. He is a humble-looking man of age with a rough haircut. Norwood, let's go. He looks you straight in the eye as his lively, soulful voice forces you to listen to his words despite yourself. Now, do I give him a kindly Irish accent or a kindly Scottish accent? Because he looks very Celtic. Oh, well, he's Dutch.
I don't know. He kind of looks like a homeless guy outside of the McDonald's, asking, clamoring after my...
This is going to be our last interaction, by the way. We're going to choose our life path and then leave.
Definitely. Okay, it's Father... Oh, let's go. I'll read it.
Go ahead.
My name is Father Jeremiah. I know your thoughts were stirred by the Patriarch's words. You are not sure whom to trust. But I teach at the seminary. I've been studying the teachings of the twins my entire life. You can trust me. I know you can hear what I have to say. I see the light in your eyes, the light of the true faith. Will you listen to my counsel, my son?
You feel no malice in the words of Inquisitor Jeremiah.
I'll
Go ahead. Continue.
let's go. I'll read all this. I was just waiting for you to turn the page.
You're a couple of seconds
You
behind.
feel no
it's okay.
malice in the words of Inquisitor Jeremiah, only hope. It is his lot to aid you, to guide you away from error, and set you on the path of the true faith. He is a priest, so he should know the truth. Or perhaps the Inquisitor himself is in the wrong. Oh, this one's good. And of course, we all know what dear Milton would do. We all know it. There's only one possible selection. Only one.
Which one?
Well, debate him, of course. He's a debate me, bro. You know? He's a reply girl. Milton would love the what are they called? The blood sports.
Damn, this is yeah, Milton publishes a pamphlet about Inquisitor Luke. You start debating the
publishes a little Substack.
The lots are an error introduced by Isatius. They are incorrect, obsolete, and contrary to the way of the modern empire.
And true, he's not entirely wrong, because the lots are plenty mobile today in the empire.
Keep reading, big man.
Yeah, please hear me out, my son. In these difficult times, people of your estate are the ones most tormented by doubt. Your lot is suffering, but not all of you are ready to suffer. Some turn to guile and cunning to avoid it, and they end up in eternity's embrace at the foot of the pillar. Very interesting. Eternity's embrace, huh? Please understand, your lot requires humility. Suffering is inevitable, and so is doubt. Each of them may temper your soul, yet each may also destroy it. But know this, if you have doubts, you are always welcome in the temple. No priest will turn you away in a moment of weakness. This is why we exist, to fortify faith in the hearts of all people, to bring the word of the twins to those who have gone astray. Know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspect of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet. Very positive message. Jeremy Hag, wonderful man. Does not deserve his awful surname. Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I am merely speaking to you right now. I have not resorted to force, nor am I giving you any orders. Do not resist this, but rather consider the following. Did the patriarch speak the truth? You answer that Luke's sermon was far more convincing than Father Jeremiah's words. Everyone blindly heeds the writings of Isatius, who is but one man who decided he had the right to define the lives of generations to come. But people have the right to free will, you say. They have the right to choose their destiny and bear the burden of their choice. Father Jeremiah sighs in response. Father Jeremiah becomes a Redditor. So, let's sigh. It saddens me to see that you have been led astray so easily. Yet you are young, you should seek to learn the truth on your own. If you truly believe you can interpret the will of the gods, perhaps you should become a priest yourself. If you come to the Divine Seminary and dear Paul, please move the mouse cursor and prove you deserve the lot of the clergy, you will be accepted. I teach there, and I am always happy to see students of considerable talent, even if they have been led astray. But for now, you should leave this place. You will learn nothing but by facing the champions of faith. He's threatening me.
Yeah.
I am Andrew Tate's top G. You can't threaten me.
So
With
true.
this, Father Jeremiah leaves you and proceeds further. You leave the square freely, your dignity preserved. The remaining people in the square continue arguing with the other inquisitors. Armed champions of faith stand nearby, but they do not intervene. Luke and his retinue can no longer be seen. Wonderful.
So, Solemn Providence wants us to become a priest, it seems. Milton.
You walk back to the lodging house, mulling over
Yep.
Father Jeremiah's words about the seminary.
Yep, and with that,
Wonderful.
With
And with
that-
that,
well, let's get through this real quick.
go ahead. You read it.
Patriarch Luke's sermons have converted many commoners and nobles of the mantle to the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow the new canons with Luke's blessing. This has led to no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. Two mighty bishops of the church lead the new faith. One of them is Luke, the Patriarch of Arknia himself, spiritual mentor of the capital province. He preaches all across Arknia, his every sermon adding to the new faith's flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Junius Diamant. Hailing from a great Arknian dynasty, he is the de facto ruler of Astinia province. Adored by his subjects, he has founded the Holy Order anew. Junius Diamant rarely preaches, but people believe the Astinian Patriarch attends to the needs of all who convert to the new faith. The schism within the church is growing. The split has furthered the divide between the commoners and the nobles, though thankfully there is no direct conflict as of yet. But it has become clear that there is no way to stop the steady advance of the new faith. Born from the death of Patriarch Photis, it grows stronger by the day. Oh boy, church is schisming. Order is falling apart. And with that, I think it's a good time to end. We've gone for a little bit over 2 hours, but not too much over 2 hours. Bobby,
No, it's actually almost exactly 2 hours because we spent like 15 minutes with you on setting everything up.
Yeah. So I think we're good to go. Well, Bobby, thank you very much for joining me as always, sir. These have become probably one of the highlights of my week, doing these for 2 hours every Saturday.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's see if we can get someone for the next time.
Yeah, we
could
can
ask.
see if we can get Cringe Walker.
Let's see if we can get Cringe Walker. But besides Cringe Walker, you have some other friends. I mean, gosh, you could even get Turnip Seed on if he can.
The problem with Turnip Seed though is that he would the thing about Turnip Seed, we were having a debate in a group chat over the meaning of the word fraternity and fraternal organization, and
hey J Ford, this game is called The Life and Suffering of Sir Bronte.
Yes, it's available on Steam. It was made by Russians. It's a very good game. Shout out to Jay Ford, very good friend of mine, both IRL and online. Greatly appreciate him. But yeah, I mean, the problem with getting Turnip Seed on is he would. So, Bobby, some people are natural priests. Some people just argue like priests do. And I mean this in the highest regard. Turnip Seed is a priest. I am not a priest. I am not a priest.
Yeah, you're a blood for the blood god type man.
I mean, maybe not. I'm a military man first and foremost, and I only really care about what I'm supposed to be fighting for. So, regardless, I think we're going to end this here. Thank you very much, Bobby. I appreciate you for joining me as always, and I look forward to doing this next week.
Yeah.
And
hey. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
See ya.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hope you all have a very good weekend.
Yeah, thank you.